Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. We have a review of work session discussion meeting minutes.
Nothing.
Department head report. Mr. West?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Just to notify the commissioners that the county was approved for the $250,000 grant to study Brian Road. Of course, the county going to match the 20% match, which is $62,500. An updated one, Brian Road was in a dire need to get the study done on it because of all the development and everything that occurred on Brian Road. The road was never designed for that much development. So now PennDOT is looking at that area. You're also looking at Route 18 also. There's another grant in for that. And but it's gonna require about $300,000, maybe $312,000 altogether to do an engineering study. They're looking at 22 areas to look at as far as turn. That's my fault, somebody. But they're looking at 22 places where they can put in turning lanes and things of that nature. They even looked at see where they can widen the road at also. And they look at 5 points. They look at the Allegheny County line. And even as I speak, there's more development getting ready to take place on there. I was told about a few days ago, right at the boundary of Allegheny and Beaver County on Briar Road, they had a nursery at. Miranda Homes supposed to be putting like another 200 homes up there. So as we speak, the subdivisions keep coming down and they keep building on Briar Road, which is very good, but the road has to be looked at now and it has to be upgraded to be able to have all the development on it. But again, just want to notify everybody we got approved. They did put a steering committee together. There's 5 people from the SPC: Andy Whitfield, Dominic, Andrew, Ryan Gordon, Christian Baum, and Liddy Grabowski. For Beaver County, it'd be myself and Lou Galati, and Lou Galati over at CED. And PennDOT will have 2 people assigned to Doug Seeley and Todd Kravitz. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just anxious to see what they can do with 5 points. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a task. Yeah, I think one suggestion was to take out one of the roads, but boy, it didn't.
Yeah. Well, I've been at the chamber. I was hearing complaints about 5 points from a commercial standpoint forever. So it's a real challenge. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Dan?
Just a couple updates. Monday was the 30 calendar days that the termination letter was sent out for the HVAC. Just talked with the solicitors, and Wayne and I will be working to get that put out for rebid. The boathouse and the bathhouse at the Brady's Run, we've got all of our stuff cleaned out of there. We were actually able to save some of the fluorescent light things, whatever we could save, we did to try to reuse in other places if needed. I have a phone call into Georgia, and they've got some stuff in there that more than likely they're just going to want to get rid of, but I wanted to check with her first. Still waiting to hear back from her. Hopefully I hear back from her soon because we're planning on next week demolishing.
Well, you will. We had a 4-hour team meeting, goal setting, training session at the Conservation District yesterday. I was there. The subject came up. I told them while there was no immediate rush, they know that they've got 280 buckets that were used for gathering the sap and stuff, and they're trying to find the right disposal method for that. At the end of the day, they may just have to buy a dumpster and clean it out. But they're working on that. She should call you, or you can call her to let you know that. But that's the only thing of consequence they have left in that building. And by the way, they said when they inspected it is quite a mess. So demo is clearly the right thing to do in that case. So hopefully they'll coordinate that and figure out a way to get rid of those 280 buckets that are in there.
Do you know if they reached out to Holly?
I don't.
I'll talk with Jordan whenever she calls me. I'm sure, since you met yesterday, she'll probably call. So
Yeah, that didn't come up. So the board approved getting rid of those things. They're also auctioning off restaurant equipment as well as the big stainless steel collection units and all those kind of things. So the board just approved auctioning those and getting rid of that other material
Great.
yesterday.
We had, a couple of the employees have been, questioning, about hauling equipment and stuff like that. What's needed for CDL, what's not needed, So, we reached out to the Pennsylvania State Police, and they're actually gonna come down Thursday, October 1st, to DPW at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they are going to provide us with their safety officer's coming down. He's gonna provide us with do's and don'ts of safe transporting equipment with trailers, and a Q&A type thing. Very, very informal. We're gonna have it right in the back shop, but just wanted to make you guys aware of that for safety reasons. We're trying to do things the way we're supposed to. And then that's it. That's it.
You did your walkthrough yesterday.
Pardon me?
Walkthrough at Bridgewater Crossings.
Yeah, we had, I believe it was 6 different vendors showed up. They've expressed that it is a lot of work.
Yes, I know a few of them are already not going to be submitting because of the size of the job.
Is that right?
One mentioned that in their proposal, they'll probably be running a barge to do the hillside, to get the equipment to do all the way down to the hillside. So I think this is going to be a larger ticket number than we expected. I guess it's pretty steep there to put some equipment on.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't walk down over the edge, but so I don't necessarily know what part of whether that's the part down by the docks or the part of the open river there. So
Yeah, it's more likely it's that area down there by the docks and that.
Yeah, and that's a lot more than knotweed is and everything else.
So
It's gonna
I'll be
take
anxious to see
quite enough for-
how many we get, or if any of them team up as subcontractors and stuff. So when is that due?
28th.
Thanks, Wayne.
Sorry.
And you have another walkthrough when?
Tomorrow morning.
For the carpet? Okay. And that one's due?
The 30th.
Okay. And I know I asked this last week, think we're gonna get more coming for the walkthrough for the carpet than we did last time?
I believe we will.
Okay, good. All right, any other department heads? Hearing none, we'll move to solicitor.
2 items just to update on. One, with the CARES Act funding, I spoke with the team and representatives who are working through that for the county. They've mentioned that they're about 80% through the applications for the small businesses and nonprofits. They hope to have all of the review of all those applications done here probably by the end of the week. There are still some entities that they're asking for follow-up documentation for to be provided. But the hope here is to first address the small businesses that did not get PPP, and then do the businesses that did get PPP with the hopes of getting some money out here by the end of the month to the non-PPP, and then probably a week or 2 after that, getting out to the businesses that did get PPP. We have received some right to know requests from various entities for the applicants, and understand that that information is subject to a right to know request. We did put that on the form, that any information that was turned over could be eligible to be subject to a right to know request. So just want to inform those businesses that it was on the documentation that was submitted to the county, and there has been right to know requests that have been made for that. But at this point, there's been no decision on a final number to be given out to the businesses, but that should be coming here in the next couple of weeks. The other issue that we've got a lot of questions on is the ice arena. Just on Monday, there was a federal court case that came out that at this point has stated that the limitations of 25 people per event and 250 people outdoors has been ruled as unconstitutional. The governor's office has indicated that they're going to appeal that. We're waiting to determine and see if, while that appeal's pending, if those numbers are still in play or if they're not. by way of the governor's previous order, a venue like the ice arena would have been eligible to have 50% of its building occupancy limit. But because the governor's order limiting events of 25 people, up to this point it's been subjected to the 25 people. Understand that this isn't a rule that Beaver County's put in place. It's been coming from the governor. And I think we're going to have conversations here in the next couple of days to try to figure out how Beaver County wants to handle that facility while these court cases are pending.
So the Commissioner Manning, this is probably on his list to bring up. Also, we've been getting a lot of emails about the ice arena. So the facility itself falls underneath the 50% capacity.
Yeah, well,
But
the way it was
because-
previously,
Gathering sounds.
whenever buildings that weren't eligible to be open until the green phase, which that facility was not, they now were permitted to have 50% of their occupancy permit.
Okay.
But because of their gathering and the events that they have in there, it's limited now further to 25 people. If that were to be removed, I believe it would go back to 50% of whatever the occupancy limit is for that facility.
So where do we stand now? I know you just said this. We think the governor is going to ask for a stay on his order while he appeals it.
Right, which what that means is that the 25 and 250 limits would be in place until the appeal is followed through in the courts.
So at this time, right now, where do we stand?
Those numbers aren't
In place.
in place.
Okay. So a lot of the concerns are, well, basically, I got two out of the emails we've been getting. One, athletes changing in the lobby area when there's both male and females. Whether, I don't think they get down to their underwear, but they still don't want to be, or there's a concern with young men changing with young women in the facility. There's 4 different locker rooms. Why can they not split up the teams in the locker rooms? Right now, there's really no teams playing at all. It's just practices. So one team can go in this locker room. It could be cleaned while they're out on the ice because they don't keep their stuff in there. They just change in there. And then when the next team comes in, they can go. The other one is there's a concern about not being able to watch their child while they're at practice because as they progress into higher leagues, the rules change. So for instance, we were reached out to by a lady where her son is now playing hockey where they can check each other. So there's a higher chance of someone getting hurt. And her concern is if a kid gets hurt and she has to take him to the hospital or a doctor, she can't relate back to that doctor or the hospital what happened to her child. It would just be hearsay from whoever was there. So I guess the question is, how do we get around and how do we get these parents, at least one parent, into the crowd during practice if they want to? That facility seems to be large enough. If there's, I'm not sure a hockey roster can bend.
14 is usually between 15 to 20 kids.
15 to 20. You would think that if there's 20 parents, that they could spread out pretty socially distance themselves in that crowd. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. We don't want to be policing that either. But you would think if it's just one practice, one team there, we should be able to accommodate that. I don't. But what you're saying is we're not allowed.
Well, we weren't allowed prior to that court case. Now we have the court case that has said that we are.
Has the stay been granted? I know the governor said
He's asked for it. I have
I don't
not.
believe it. I don't believe an appeal has been filed formally.
No, they've said they're going to do it, but at this point, there hasn't been any order. Now, that stay could come down at any time. Once it's filed, I would expect the court would act on that relatively quick for court terms. But, it still could easily be a week or so before we get some type of ruling or decision on that.
Well, we have conflicting safety concerns here, right? Safety of the kids, safety of the practice, safety, peace of mind with the parents about what's happening with their kids. And then you've got all of the COVID restrictions, right? So I'm not sure what the right answer is. But if the stay hasn't been executed, I see no reason on a temporary basis we can't kind of do what Chairman Camp is suggesting, let a parent be in there, spread out in that agreement. But I'll defer to our legal minds here on whether you think that's
Yeah, we
too
probably-
much of a risk or not.
We'll probably want to speak with Tim too, just to work through the implementation of that. I don't know if he'll have someone there who will be counting, or if he'll make it the responsibility of those using the facility.
It's
Just sort of police their own groups.
Right, but given the, well, and also, I made the point about parents not being able to know what happened. I would think the coaches and those people should be responsible
Yeah.
for letting people know if somebody gets hurt, well, here's what happened, so I'm not sure, that part of that isn't taken care of, but I would think the hockey clubs would also have some kind of oversight there and watching what's going on and trying to monitor things.
So I know
whether
Tim-
parents are there or
Right, I know Tim
not,
said before in
right?
the past, some of these governing bodies for hockey themselves have put out regulations saying that it's limited to 25 people. So I don't know with those governing bodies, if they're gonna change their stance or not. I know that was a concern. So I think it's something we sort of have to work our way through,
Fair enough.
and try to see, and we are addressing it. Just please be patient with us while we figure out try to look out for everyone's interest in this.
It just seems that the emails,
Got another one this morning.
we got another one this morning, and it just seems that, we don't wanna lose these teams to go to other facilities, and in the emails, it seems as when they're going to these other facilities, things are a little different. So whether they're following the rules or not, but even just the locker room thing, it seems like, okay, one of the concerns was, once you get all this equipment on, have you seen a 10-year-old try to tie their own skates? That's these parents' concerns right now. So if their skates aren't tied properly, now they're going out onto the ice and they can get hurt. So, even if it's just a passing or somehow to be able to get them in there, but just, whatever we could do, it would be nice for the parents to be able to accommodate, us to accommodate.
And a peace of mind for them,
Yeah.
so I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll look into it. Just need an executive session to go over some negotiation stuff.
Commissioner?
Yeah, just a couple things, some announcements and some highlights. I've said for a long time, I know Chairman Camp agrees with, that small business nonprofits are the heart and soul of Beaver County, and there's been a couple of great events that have taken place. And I just wanted to highlight one, the Bags and Blessings was Saturday. Robin, one of our sheriff's deputies, is heavily involved with that. And that was a great outing and fundraising. And I also got an email from a former colleague, the Buseys. They live in Hopewell, and they wanted to do something positive to raise funds. And they did a bike ride from the point to DC and back to raise money. They had a goal of $3,000. They ended up raising $7,000. It goes to Wings for Vets, which is a really neat 501c3 organization. It's headed by Corky Romeo, who used to be the Dean of Aviation at CCPC. And it's all a bunch of retired military commercial vets who provide transportation for veterans, hospital stuff, different things, private planes that they'll fly, stuff there. And I just thought that was great. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Buseys for doing that. Chief Brian Ermiker was one of the 6 riders as well from Hopewell. Also, the DA, I don't know if we've got this on the website. Tony?
It is gonna be on the website,
Yeah.
I do have that, and we'll get it up.
So Thursday, September 24th, from 5 to 7 in Irvine Park across the street here, the District Attorney and Behavioral Health folks, National Recovery Month. And we will celebrate those people in recovery, as well as remember those we lost. We've lost 325 people since 2016 due to the disease of addiction, and I appreciate them putting this on. There's 2 food drives happening September 18th in the afternoon. One's the food bank from Pittsburgh, Mount Carmel Presbyterian Church, Broadhead Road in Aliquippa. There's also one at CCBC that Shell and the Pittsburgh Steelers are putting on together. So if you haven't driven by one of those things, there are still hundreds of people that are going through these drive-through food banks and getting food during this time. So also wanted to mention I was in Ambridge Friday night. They dedicated a gazebo in the new streetscape and the new park and the new streetscape there to Andrew Mikish. The Mikish family's been in Ambridge forever, and it was just exciting to see the vibrancy in downtown Ambridge and what's happening there. I'm very bullish on Ambridge and what they're doing, and I appreciate that. Also got to know from Tim that the Barn Bash has been moved to a matinee, so it'll be 3 to 4:30 on the 26th, according to the latest email from Tim, and that's about it. Just a lot of stuff still going on, and with all of the COVID psychological and physical stress going on, it's good to talk about some really good stuff that's happening, again, from our nonprofit world and just from average citizens like the Buseys who just decide to do something positive and take a bike ride to DC and back. I give them credit for that. Always wanted to do that, but I'm not sure I get past the Pittsburgh line on a bike these days, but that's it for me.
We'll move to any other business. Audience participation. Mr. Roy, we're starting the budget process.
Excellent, looking forward to it.
All right. Garen, will we need to reconvene from executive session?
No.
We'll move into executive session and not reconvene. Thank you.